Going viral used to be hard, but I spent the last 10 months proving that it's actually quite simple when you follow this process. We built a viral content engine for Dan Bilzerian's dating program that generated over 409 million views and hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. In this video, I'm revealing the exact framework we used so you can steal it and apply it to your business. And by the end, you'll have the step-by-step system to turn organic content into real leads and easier sales. And if you're ready to make your content work for you, let's get into it. So first, let's look at some of the viral videos we produced and why they went viral. Let's play the first video.
How many women have you slept with in your life total?
Thousands. I was having sex with 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. Some days 4, sometimes 5, 7. The most was 9. I had a handsome. I had this image in my mind when I was growing up of like how awesome this would be. What I landed on was I actually just would rather have sex with one girl and then another girl and whatever. I actually like the more one-on-one than the crazy group thing.
I think it's fairly obvious why this went viral in the sense that Dan Bilzerian is globally known, and in the sense he's a modern day Hugh Hefner. A lot of people want to know how many girls he's slept with. It's just an interesting question, but also on a more relatable aspect of how this can work for anyone else. This is a highly relatable question that's also very personal and secretive to everyone, right? And so if you can think of a question like that to ask in the hooks of your content, it's going to help it break through versus something that's much more widely known. Now, when it comes to taking clips from long form as well, the most important part above all else is the clip selection itself. You have to have the skill set to choose a great clip with a great hook, full context to back it up. You need to remove all fillers, all pauses, all repeat statements, ums, ahs, ams. You need to have faster pacing and jump cuts to make the speakers come across as more articulate, and that also captures more attention. You need to know when to include pauses versus when to remove them. And one of the big keys that we follow on the editing side is something we call the 2-second rule, where every 2 seconds, something visually engaging needs to be happening on screen to make the edit hypnotic, right? And keep our attention. So the ways that we do this is through zoom effects, through B-roll. We found that it works better to show less words on screen for the captions at a time. We like to keep it 1 to 4 words that show max at a time versus showing 4 to 8 to 10 words at a time. You can also add animations on the captions and the text itself, so there's more pop-ups happening. You can do this through head tracking. You can do this by switching back and forth between the speakers if they're on a podcast with multiple people. But overall, something visually engaging needs to be happening every 2 seconds. Each edit we put through, which by the way, in our company, we post close to 30,000 pieces of content per month, so we know a thing or two about this. We also have to have them pass the sound off test because it differs per platform, but there is a substantial amount of people on every social media platform who scrolls with the sound off. And so if you don't know what's happening in the content and you don't understand the video by watching with the sound off, then it's likely not going to perform nearly as well. And the likelihood of it going viral is much lower. And so the test is, after you finish the edit, make sure to watch it through with no sound and no audio and ask yourself, does this still make sense? Can you still follow along? And the most important question above all else as a gut check to know whether or not this clip will go viral is asking yourself, would people want to share this with someone else? The most viral content is the most shareable content. And so many views in viral videos come from shares. People are DMing it, they're sharing it in their Slack channel, they're posting it on their story, but they're sharing it with others. And if you watch a clip and you don't feel like people would share it, then don't post it because that's not going to be a good clip. By the way, if you want our full quality control checklist, step-by-step of everything that we check before we approve content and post it out to make it most likely to go viral, we've done this generating over 8 billion views across platforms, posting close to 30,000 pieces of content per month. We have this free checklist. You can see it on screen here, and I'll send you access to it if you go to my Instagram and you DM me the word checklist. All right, now let's check out another viral video that we've created for Dan that got 1.6 million views.
Was there ever a girl that you really wanted that you couldn't get?
There was a lot of girls that I really wanted that I couldn't get. I thought about what it would be like to have a hot girlfriend, and then I was in 11th grade, and I remember I finally got this hot girl to agree to go to prom with me. My dad's a cheap ass, gave me his suit, and he's 6'1", I'm 5'9", so this thing's like 4 inches too long. But I was still excited to go on this thing. I was going to prom, I had a hot date, whatever. And I told my parents, obviously, they gave me some money, this whole thing. And the girl canceled like the night of. And I didn't have the heart to tell my parents. I was so fucking embarrassed. So I basically like put on this oversized clown suit and left my house and just kind of sat in a parking lot for an hour or so. I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to tell them and I was fucking embarrassed about it.
So breaking down, why did this work? Well, first, this is a highly relatable question, also a huge pain point for a lot of guys. It's getting rejected. And especially hearing it from someone like Dan Bilzerian, who's known to have an abundance of women and models, hearing that he still has gone through a lot of rejection, it makes it more relatable and also more inspiring for people who watch it. And so that immediately hooks them in. Now, this also relates to storytelling. Dan goes into telling a story about his early experience with this, and storytelling is the most powerful form of communication. It is hardwired into our brains, and studies have shown that our brains literally light up in different centers and neural networks when people tell a story on both the speaker's end and also the receiver's end of people listening to that story. It engages us more and we retain information better when we hear it through stories versus teaching. Also, a content type that's working really well right now, just like this one, is pretty girls interviewing guys about anything. And this can work in different industries. This is something that we're doing with our client Hustle Phil right now. We'll play an example.
What was your aha moment in online business?
It was when I wanted to buy a Lamborghini.
This type of content has helped Hustle Phil get millions of views. And then we'll also play another example of this being used in the sales space to show you this can work in any business and any industry.
What do you say when they tell you it's too expensive?
Just agree with them. Sounds crazy, right? But most salespeople panic and start defending.
So if you have the setup to do this type of post type and format in your business, you probably should. And now let's break down a third viral video that we've created that got 1.3 million views.
I just ignore almost everything that women say because it's almost all bull. Because you ask women like, what do you want in a guy? And then you look at the last 20 guys and they have like almost none of those things on the list, which is why like women dating coaches are just like such a waste of time. There's what women say they want and then there's what they respond to, and what they respond to is what's important, right? And I don't think a lot of them understand like the subconscious response mechanisms too.
Now, obviously this is a very polarizing hook because Dan is saying that almost everything that women say is BS in the start of it, and that's going to grab attention. The algorithms reward polarization. And so if you can lean into polarization, but do it wisely for your brand, this is something that can help you break through. And the reality is the most polarizing people in the world are also the most known people in the world. Then also there's a little bit of contrast in this of the very polarizing hook, but then it has a very uplifting stock style song and soundtrack in the back, which actually adds a humor element to it. And keep in mind as well, all these videos that we're showing you are to drive results to Dan's dating program, which this clip does an amazing job at. Not only is it viral, but it's also informative, and it's also framing up Dan as the best dating coach versus learning from many women dating coaches. The reality is these videos did not go viral by accident. They went viral by high retention editing, following the 2-second rule, keeping the pacing on point. Clip selection is perfect, using polarizing and relatable hooks, embedding storytelling into the content, all while keeping it specific to Dan's dating program, which is going to create a much higher ratio of views to people who are interested in learning more and potentially joining the program. And now we move on to section 2, our remixing winner strategy. See, most people post and get a viral video and then they move on and they keep doing different stuff. And that is a massive mistake. At our agency, once a video hits, it becomes a permanent asset. And we call this remixing winners. If the data shows a specific hook or topic works, we don't just leave it, we re-edit the same clip with different music, new captions, different B-roll, different sequences, or maybe we cut out and add different parts to the clip. And this is how we take one video from getting 1 million views to getting over 30 million views on that same video by remixing it over and over and posting it multiple times across different accounts. And then what happens is you start to get multiple remix winners and multiple viral assets that you keep remixing over and over and over. And that's what starts to really stack and compound. And out of the over 8 billion views that we've generated, I would say somewhere around 1 billion of those views or more have been generated specifically from remix winners. So those first 3 videos that we just reviewed, we've also remixed them and they've continued to go viral multiple more times. So we'll play a few examples now, starting with the first video. Again, this is a remix winner, and this second post got 1.4 million views.
How many women have you slept with in your life total?
Thousands. I was having sex with 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. Some days 4, sometimes 5, 7. The most was 9.
So you can see that was the same exact clip with a little bit of additional context added in and then different editing on top. And voila, now you have a unique clip that went viral again. Here's another example. On the second video that we already showed you, we made it into a remix winner. And the second time it got 4.3 million views, which is over 4 times more than the first time that we posted it.
But was there ever a girl that you really wanted that you couldn't get?
There was a lot of girls that I really wanted that I couldn't get. It's in 11th grade, and I remember I finally got this hot girl to agree to go to prom with me.
Again, same clip, same raw footage, different editing on top, and it got 4 times the views. Here's a third example on another remix winner. Keep in mind, the first time we posted this, it got 1.3 million views. The second time we posted this as a remix winner, it got 1.8 million views.
I just ignore almost everything that women say because it's almost all bull. Because you ask women, like, what do you want in a guy? And then you look at the last 20 guys and they have like almost none of those things on the list. There's what women say they want, and then there's what they respond to. And what they respond to is what's important, right? And I don't think a lot of them understand like the subconscious response mechanisms too.
Now, by the way, if any or all of this is sounding overwhelming, we do all of this for you, and we guarantee anywhere between 10 million to 500 million views in the first year, or we work for free. If you're interested in learning more about how that works and seeing proof and getting your free custom guarantee, check out the link in the description below. Now we get into section 3, which is how we scale this to 850 posts per month and beyond. See, viral content is the spark, but volume is the fuel. We're currently running 17 different accounts for Dan across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are consistently our top performing platforms for short form content. So that's where the bulk of the accounts are. And we currently have 5 accounts on each one of those platforms. That makes up 15 accounts. Then we additionally have 2 Facebook pages, which can be more hit or miss for us. But when Facebook hits, it can really hit. And I would say it's one of the most underrated platforms today. If you have a network of accounts posting 850, 1,000, 2,000 pieces of content per month, and your competitors are only posting 100, 200 times per month, which a lot of brands still think is a lot of content, who do you think is gonna win? The person posting 2,000 times a month or 200 times a month? And even if, let's say, you don't have great quality content, you're going to find and learn what quality is much faster when you're posting 2,000 pieces of content per month versus 200 pieces of content per month, because you're able to experiment a lot more and you're collecting significantly more data to quickly learn what's working and what's not, and then making faster adjustments. However, the caveat is this takes a team, and it takes really dialed in systems, which is what we've perfected. So the full stack team that we have for this with Dan is 7 editors, 1 social media manager, 1 team leader who's the captain of the ship, 1 data analyst to track everything across the board, 1 graphic designer who works fractionally and just comes in as needed to help build different brand assets, and then 1 clips coordinator where their full-time job is to take all the content we have and organize it into content database sheets that we've created with a lot of timestamps to make it a lot more efficient for our editors to go through the content and take out specific clips without needing to watch a full long form video every day that they're waking up and doing this. So as you can see, this isn't just about noise. This aggressive volume has resulted in just right under 550,000 followers for Dan just on his Sigma Society dating program profiles. And that leads us into section 4, the conversion engine of how we turn views into cash. How do we make money? This is the fun part. See, 400 million views means nothing if the bank account doesn't move. We've drove multi-6 figures in sales just specifically from the organic content alone, not including the 7 figures of ad attribution that's been driven from this full process also. So how do we maximize organic sales? First, we have a CTA, which stands for call to action caption template that we use on almost all captions on all posts. You can see the example on screen, but essentially what we do is every post has a unique one-liner at the top, and then it's the same CTA caption template below saying, if you're new here, welcome to Sigma Society. Then it breaks down the program, why it's different, the benefits, and includes a CTA to comment a keyword below, which then we use minichat.com to automatically DM them. And that drives them into the VSL funnel, which is the top conversion mechanism for growing Sigma society. The more calls to action that you put in front of people, the more actions people therefore take. But there is a balance with this, right? Because if you overly sell and you overly promote in your content, then it can lower your engagement rate, which can hurt all performance across the accounts and make you come across as an overly sell out to your audience. And that's obviously something that you don't want to do. So you have to get really strategic with coming up with ways that you can include as many CTAs as possible while avoiding overly selling and overly promoting. Second conversion strategy is going to be Instagram story highlights. Every story highlight on every account is a marketing funnel. You can look at it like a landing page. You should not just have random stuff here. It needs to be strategic. We'll show some examples on screen, but one is going to be FAQ highlights. And every website and every landing page, when they have an FAQ, really what that is that's handling the biggest objections and biggest concerns that would otherwise hold people back from getting started or the biggest confusion points. Having an FAQ story highlights is a no-brainer that's going to drive more conversions. And then throughout the story highlights, you can have CTAs of either people DMing you a keyword, and again, you use minichat.com or similar software to then set up DM automations that drive them into your funnel. Or you can also just include links that they click inside of the stories that again takes them to the next step in whatever funnel drives the most conversions for you. In the case for Sigma Society, that's going to be VSL and it's going to be webinar funnel. I will say we've tested this a lot, and overall the data shows that we get higher click-through rates whenever we do keyword CTAs, such as comment the keyword below or DM the keyword below, versus if we just get people to try and click a link. Other story highlights, we have one that's lifestyle B-roll and it just has a CTA on it. Another good one for brands is having a My Story section that shows your story and what led you to being where you are today and why you were such an expert in whatever it is that you do. And you don't want to overly do this either. You should have 3 to 5 story highlights max, and all of them should drive conversions and get people deeper into your funnel. Next is going to be carousel posts. These can also do a great job at driving value-based information. And then on the last slide, you again include a CTA. Usually we do a comment, a keyword below CTA, and then we have the DM automation set up. Another killer conversion strategy that is so underrated, and I see so few people and brands do this, it's crazy to me, is pinned comments. Pinned comments is basically a second caption for your post, and you can and should include CTAs in all your posts using pinned comments. What's cool is on Facebook, you can actually include links as the pinned comments, and we found that it's best not to include a link in the caption, but you can get by more without your content being penalized if you have a link inside of your comments instead. Additionally, this GIF, red link in bio, pinned comment, it crushes. It's so good at grabbing attention. Everyone who goes to the comment section is going to see it, and then it makes you very curious. You're like, okay, what is this about? And we've seen very high throughputs of people seeing that and then going and clicking the link in bio. A next great conversion strategy is course teaser clips. So we actually take clips from the curriculum itself inside of the Sigma Society program, and we let people know that this is a free clip from the program. And that does a great job of driving results because it's highly value-based and it's basically allowing them to sample or trial what's to come if they join. The 6th killer conversion strategy is organic B-roll ads. So it's still organic content that we're posting and all the reach is free, but it's organic B-roll, it just has a CTA on the top, and this can crush when you do it right. Then the 7th conversion strategy, and this is really a big pillar that crushes and is one of the biggest values of having a full sub-account network, is the organic to ads conversion bridge. So what I mean by that is when you have top performing viral organic content, more often than not, as long as the messaging relates, that's going to be top performing ads for your business. If you are not taking your top organic content and running it as ads, you are leaving so much money on the table and actually losing a lot of money because your ads could be much more profitable and scale to many more people. So when you have a sub-account network that's posting 850 times a month or 1,000 times a month, 2,000 times a month, you're testing so much more content and you're gonna find a lot more of these winning assets like the remix winners. And not only should you keep remixing that and posting it as more organic content, but you also should repurpose that as ads. Maybe you just have to stitch on a different CTA on the back end of it and then put it in the ads manager and run paid spend behind it. And these creatives will absolutely crush. We have a lot of clients who spend over 10 million a year just in ads alone. And one of the biggest factors above all else to really scale with your ads is winning creative. The more winning creative you have, the more you're going to be able to profitably spend. A lot of the time when you hit a ceiling on ads and you lose profitability, and it's not due to your sales team or fulfillment, it's due to the ads itself, it's because you don't have enough winning creative. And having a sub account network solves that. Then also a massive part of this is ads retargeting. So you can take all the views, all the engagement, all the reach from all these sub accounts, add the sub accounts into the business manager where you run ads from on each platform, and then you can retarget all of it with ads. And when you're retargeting, you're now getting these leads and sales for pennies compared to dollars because they've already seen the content and they've already engaged with you. If anyone watches 25% or more of any of the videos that we put out, they're gonna get retargeted with conversion-driven ads. And the reality is, if you're not using ads with this organic sub-account network, you are leaving massive amounts of money on the table. Yes, the sub-accounts drive a lot of organic sales, but incorporating ads into this is going to maximize the amount of sales that you get. By combining massive organic reach with automated backend systems, we've turned Dan's content into a multi-six-figure sales engine that runs while he sleeps for his dating program, and have the systems to do this for any 1 million plus business, whether you're just getting started with content or if you're a brand as big as Dan Bilzerian. If you want to learn more about what it looks like to work with us on this, and you also want your custom free guarantee of 10 million to 500 million views in the first year, and if we don't hit that, we'll work for free, then check out the link in the description below. Also, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Not only is it going to bring you more value that you can use to scale your brand, but it also helps the channel in general. And if you find this valuable, subscribing helps get in front of more people as well. So that'd be doing a big favor for me and also a big service for you. And with that said, I'll see you in the next video.